You babies that are really good with this internet, through the years, I've watched DL speak ill of me. Through the years. I never knew DL Hughley had a problem with me. But when Cat say they all a group, he forgot to put DL Hughley in the group. Through the years, I was bitter. I was dangerous with what I was doing.
How do you love us for real when there's no evidence of anybody loving you for real, except your daddy, who you apparently have to pay?
On a coward. That had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughley. That insult was directed straight to you, DL. That had nothing to do with your wife. That was straight to you. So it felt like you were trying to pass it off as if I was going after your wife.
Child DL Hughley wasted no time being the hit dog hollering after Monique dropped some heated words in her interview with Shannon Sharpe, spilling the tea about what caused their fallout back in the day. But the saga is not over yet because Monique has now clapped back at DL on IG Live, and she's saying there's a whole backstory to why he got all worked up and felt the urge to come at her with the drama. Meanwhile, fans are saying DL just showed his true face because he was real quick to pull out the fat jokes against Monique. Not only that, but he had the audacity to talk about how Monique has to pay a man to love her. Meanwhile, his wife is going through it. But let me catch you up to speed in case you missed out on this drama.
There's a reason you're yourself. There's a reason you got to pay a man to love you. It's sad. There's an old adage that says you can't buy love. It's a shame, Monique, that you probably always will have to.
So I'm sure y'all probably caught wind of Monique making headlines with her guest spot on Club Shay Shay. Just like we expected, Monique held nothing back, picking up where Cat Williams left off and taking shots at the so-called gatekeepers Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, Tiffany Haddish, and even Oprah. But Monique pointed out that Cat forgot to drop one more name from the same clique of gatekeepers, none other than DL Hughley. Now, this isn't the first rodeo for Monique and DL. Back in 2022, they kicked off a feud over some public contract drama, and Monique spilled the tea on how the whole situation went from 0 to 100 after she brought DL's daughter into the mix. To give you some context, the whole showdown between these two kicked off back in May of 2022. And let me tell you, it was a real spectacle. Monique didn't bite her tongue during a stand-up gig and went off on DL, airing out their dirty laundry over a contract mess. This drama unfolded because they were squabbling over who had the rightful crown as the main act in a live comedy showdown in Detroit. And according to Monique, she had the paperwork to prove she was the headliner. DL also allegedly threw a fit and refused to perform if Monique was the headliner. DL denied these allegations and claimed his name was written on the tickets above Monique's name. So when Monique later went on stage during her comedy set, she made jokes about DL and his wife, saying something along the lines of how she doesn't understand how DL's wife can do the deed with a coward. But then the feud got even uglier when Monique dredged up an old interview where DL Hughley allegedly refused to believe that one of his daughters was SA'd by his friend. Monique compared this to her own past trauma and how she, as a black woman, was not believed when she spoke about her trauma. She shared a clip from DL's interview on her IG and wrote in the caption, "When I said, how can DL's wife suck the D of a coward, this is what I meant. When my husband and I say we have to fight for the little girls coming up behind us, and you see DL didn't believe his own daughter over a friend because he seemingly likes his friend more than he loved his own daughter and didn't want to be bothered by the inconvenient truth. This highlights why the black woman isn't believed when she publicly speaks about her trauma. What does the black woman and his, DL's, black wife have coming? Watch who stands with this man, and you're looking at the same ones who will sit down when you, our sisters, are being attacked. I find it funny that DL will call out Ice Cube, Kanye, Rizza Islam, Angela Stanton, myself, etc., but he won't call out the name of the person that violated his daughter. This is what happens for the people who said, I just need to let things go." But DL's daughter, Ryan Nicole, then joined the chat and blasted Monique for speaking on her family. Ryan Nicole responded in the comment section of Monique's post, saying, "Using my mama and my sister to show people my father's character only shows how little mental stability, dignity, morality, and respect you have, not only for yourself, but other black women. You're clearly 2 crayons short of the full box, sis. You're disgusting, and you absolutely need to keep every single member of my family's name out of your poisonous mouth. DL's daughter also offered Monique an opportunity to have a private conversation and added, you can continue to live in that scorched earth kingdom of yours. Get some help, ma'am, for real. Oh, and if you want to have this conversation in person, I'll happily give you my address. And that's when Monique responded, saying she'd gladly take up Ryan Nicole on that offer. She said, hey, young sister, thank you for the invitation for a discussion. We would like to take you up on it because it could be very healing for our community. Have DL set up a time for you, your family, and my husband and I to come on his show, and we'll go from there. But that face-to-face reunion never happened, and meanwhile, DL and Monique continued throwing jabs at each other. So, of course, when Monique sat down with Shannon Sharpe last week, he had to ask her about the drama with DL, and she claimed that she would have never brought up DL's family if he hadn't done it first. So according to Monique, DL set her up when he invited her to his radio show where his team asked her to play the Would You Rather game, which included some nasty questions about her husband.
They said, Monique, we want to play a game of Would You Rather. Let's go. Would you rather your husband sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom or Corinne Steffens without one?
Really, Monique?
Now, as y'all are watching right now who haven't heard this story, y'all going, they doing the same thing in the studio. They going, okay. That is exactly what happened. Now, I said to the team, how does that uplift our community? I said, sister, and her name is Jasmine, how could you ask another sister that? Well, we just planned. I said, tell me the joke in that because I don't know what you're insinuating. Then you're involving people that have nothing to do with nothing. Like, what are y'all doing? So I said, I'm going to call my brother.
Since DL didn't show up to the studio that day, Monique decided to call him and ask what was up with his team asking those crazy questions. But DL just dismissed her and said, that's how we do it.
DL, I'm going to call my brother. I call DL Hughley on the phone. I say, hey, baby, yeah.
Huh?
That's how he responds. Yeah.
Did he know it was you?
Yes, because they called him to let him know Monique's gonna be calling.
Right.
Like this, it was getting crazy.
Right.
I'm like, just let me get on the phone with my brother, right?
Yeah.
Hey, DL, yeah. I said, listen, I just got off the phone with your team and they wanted to play this game, Would You Rather? And it was like, stupid. Like, asking me about my husband and Lee Daniels and Corinne Steffens, and his exact words, well, that's how we do it. I said, DL, how does that uplift our community? And again, I don't know what y'all trying to insinuate, but brother, what you doing?
Monique also revealed that this segment of DL's radio show never aired because she had her lawyer send him a cease and desist letter. And according to Monique, that's when she realized DL is also part of that group of gatekeepers that Cat Williams spoke about on Club Shay Shay.
Now, it got so ugly that my attorney had to send a cease and desist, so it never aired. So we have, like, when Cat Williams talk and people, truth tellers talk, we have receipts to everything we're saying. That's how that whole thing got started, okay? It's family. My husband is my family.
Yeah.
Now, you babies that are really good with this internet, through the years, I've watched DL speak ill of me. Through the years. I never knew DL Hughley had a problem with me. But when Cat said they all a group, he forgot to put DL Hughley in the group.
Monique claimed that DL kept throwing dirt on her and her husband's name for years, and it all culminated when they were both scheduled to perform in Detroit. Monique claims she was the headliner, but DL leaked a memo that said he was supposed to headline. And according to Monique, when DL leaked that document, he never explained the difference between a memo and a contract.
But I knew I'ma see him, right?
Eventually.
Okay, now we have a show in Detroit. Contractually, I was the headliner. DL Hughley posted a memo. Now, when you signed your deal for the Ravens, did you sign a contract or a memorandum?
I signed the contract.
You see how you say that? Like anybody that knows good business, you sign.
Contract.
The memo is saying this is what I would like,
Right.
but the contract is saying this is what it is. Okay?
Yes.
He put out a memo to our community, and that touched me a little different because I was saying, why would you lie to our babies? because now they're thinking if they send somebody a memo, that's what they're supposed to get.
Monique said DL showed up super late to the show, so she decided to take some jabs at him on stage, and that's when she made that joke about DL's wife getting busy with a coward. But according to Monique, that wasn't an insult to DL's wife, it was meant for DL. As for that post about DL's daughter, Monique claimed she simply used that as evidence of DL being a coward.
And I said some things on that stage that I said he was cowardly. And some folks said, how could you say that? How could you do that? And then I posted some things to say, this is what I meant. See, you came after my husband. And when you had a chance to fix it, when you had a chance to say, Mo, my bad, we don't even get down like that.
Right.
You told me it is what it is.
Anyway, DL wasted no time responding to Monique. And as soon as Club Shay Shay uploaded her interview, DL fired back on Instagram, calling Monique a liar and throwing a bunch of corny insults about her weight.
Well, Club Shay Shay is getting messier and messier. It's almost like Wendy Williams didn't go anywhere. She just got a weight set. So Monique was on. Every time I see Monique these days, she's on doing some greasy video with her and her daddy complaining about something or working out. I don't know nobody that work out that much and gain weight unless every crunch you do has got Captain in front of it.
DL claimed Monique completely twisted that story about her playing Would You Rather on his radio show and said he personally pulled the segment because Monique felt offended.
My co-host Jasmine Sanders played a game that we played all the time with everybody called Would You Rather. She apparently was so offended by that she said she got off. She called me. Monique did, and she said I was very dismissive, like, Monique's a liar. When Monique did call me, I heard her complaints, I listened to her, and I pulled the segment. So if I had been as dismissive as she alleges I was, that segment would have aired. It didn't, because I respected her wishes. She's a liar.
According to DL, there's no evidence of him ever trashing Monique in public, and he again insisted that he was supposed to headline that Detroit show.
From the fact that I used to always talk about her on video after video, and she encouraged her sweet babies to look at the video and find them. Do that. Do exactly what she says. And you know what you're not going to find? You're not going to find any evidence of that, because Monique's a liar. She's lying about that. But what you will find is Monique talking about some alleged contract dispute we had. Look at the ticket. It says DL Hughley, then Monique. She knows the story.
DL then blasted Monique for coming for his family and accused her of using his daughter's trauma to get back at him.
Did in response to that, she talked about my dog, my wife. This broad even brought out my daughter's personal trauma. My daughter was, and Monique brought that out and told the world that I allowed my daughter to be in front of me. The lying. She knows she was lying. And it only stopped when everybody from my family checked her.
Finally, DL had some words for Monique's husband, claiming that Monique's whole family stopped messing with her. And the only reason her husband is still around is because she pays him to love her.
You won't ever see her with her family, videos with her children or grandchildren, because nobody with me. How do you have sweet babies when your own babies don't? How do you love us for real when there's no evidence of anybody loving you for real, except your daddy, who you apparently have to pay? There's a reason why everywhere she goes, starts. Everywhere she goes. How is it that nobody you, not even your family? How do you, I was on the road getting it. I get it every goddamn week. Look at my schedule versus yours. See how much I'm going. And I still manage to have a relationship that I cherish with my children. Can you say the same? You can't. Because all you do is talk about your grievances and who did you wrong. There's a reason you're yourself. There's a reason you got to pay a man to love you.
But y'all, the drama didn't end there, because Monique and her husband decided to respond to DL on IG Live. So they first admitted that Monique misspoke on Club Shay Shay when she said she sent DL a cease and desist. But Monique's husband said they did warn DL that they would get their lawyer involved, and that's when DL agreed to remove the segment.
Thank you.
We wanted to address first and foremost our brother, DL Hughley. And we are firm believers on what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
So we got to start off by saying there was an inaccuracy as it regards Monique saying that there was a cease and desist that was given to DL to shut it down. what had taken place, to be accurate, was after Monique spoke to Brother DL on that conversation, Brother DL said, what?
Well, after we spoke on that conversation, when we hung up that phone, the last thing he said was, "It is what it is." And I said, DL, then we're going to have to get our attorney involved. That's the last thing me and DL Hughley said on that conversation.
And after having that conversation with Monique, we went and got our attorney involved, Attorney Anderson. At the time, there were some emails that were transferred back and forth between his side and our side, and it escalated to a point when we had our attorney on the email, whereby then finally DL said that he would scratch the interview.
Yes.
So it was inaccurate that a cease and desist had to be given. However, that was the next step, and that's what Monique remembered, because when I discussed it with her, we said that would be the next step. But to DL's credit, at that moment, when it had escalated, that's when he decided to shut it down.
As for DL claiming that Monique trashed his family, Monique claimed all her jokes were directed at DL, not his wife or children.
When I was on that stage and I said it must be hard to perform sex,
But differently.
okay, on a coward, that had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughley. That insult was directed straight to you, DL. That had nothing to do with your wife. That was straight to you. So it felt like you were trying to pass it off as if I was going after your wife. When it comes to your daughter, to the baby that you did a post about, you did an interview about, I didn't do that interview. I simply reposted what you said. So when you say, Monique, you went after my daughter, that's untrue, DL. I posted what you said. And then when you said when you were really going for it with your shades on, and you said, Monique said I stood by and watched my daughter. DL Hughley, that's your conscience talking to you, brother. I never said that. I never said that. And I want to be a little clear about something else. Never would I try to do anything to harm any of your babies, because we got babies too. So never would I try to do anything to harm your children. However, what I was saying to your daughter and to the other daughters out there, I know what it's like for your daddy to know you've been touched and he not protect you, because my daddy did the same thing. That's what that whole point was. But I was showing why I would call you a coward, brother. I don't think it's brave that you didn't protect your baby.
Anyway, y'all, it looks like the internet is divided on this one. A lot of folks are taking Monique's side and saying DL has always been shady, but DL is not without his supporters either. Someone said DL Hughley is mad that Monique brought up his daughter's trauma, the same trauma that he failed to make right by siding with the one who her. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to act like Father of the Year when he never cared in the first place. But another person fired back, saying, DL Hughley woke up the tea that Monique had children that don't F with her. That's a huge red flag. Never trust a righteous man or woman who has grown children that don't F with them. 9 times out of 10, they are trash and or narcissistic. But let me know how you feel about this mess. Who do you think is telling the truth? Let me know in the comments, and then check out this next video.